love these books so much, I only have 4 of them because I've given them all away. Let's get into today's video. For today's video, I'm going to talk about something that I've never actually talked about on my channel, and that is all things books. So in 2021, I feel like I kind of only had 2 moods when it came to books. Either I was sitting with my nose in one for hours on end and finished it in a day, or I basically didn't pick one up for months. So I thought it could be super fun to share my top reads of 2021. The first book I want to talk about is Minimal by Madeline, Olivia. It is gorgeous. It is an incredible staple read. She talks about loads of different things. So she goes into life about minimalism, but also like sustainable living. She talks about veganism and vegetarianism, and a lot of her work touches on intentional living as well, which is kind of like my main love. And how can we live intentionally, valuing what we value most. The second book that I really enjoyed kind of on this minimalism vein was Joshua Becker's new book called The More of Less. I really enjoyed this book. So he was the pastor of a church. So what he does really well is he takes these principles and these practices that Jesus taught, but he teaches them in such a way that everyone can do them and everyone can access them, and I really love that. There's a really incredible chapter on like minimizing sentimental items, which I found unbelievably helpful, and that's kind of where my video on minimizing your sentimental items comes from, which I will link up here. So that was really helpful. Really enjoyed the book. 10 out of 10 would give it a read if you're exploring this journey of simplicity and minimalism. And yeah, really loved it. The next book I want to talk about is called The Essentialist by McKeown. If you have been around productivity YouTubers, minimalism YouTubers, anyone in that vein, they will probably have talked about this book. Again, loved this book and found it really helpful, found it really insightful. I'm going to read you the blurb. It says, "This is not a time management strategy, but a systematic discipline you apply every time you are faced with a decision. By forcing us to apply a more selective criteria for what is essential, the pursuit of less allows us to regain control of our choices so we can make the highest possible contribution towards the things that really matter." I think for me as a 20-something-year-old and kind of exploring the possibilities of what I could do with my life and what I could invest my time with, I found this a really helpful read. It really helps you filter through in your head what are the things that you actually are passionate about, that bring you life, that you really enjoy, and what are the things that you just do because they've cropped into your life. And so I found this really helpful when it came to kind of more how I planned and organised my time and just saying yes to the things that I truly value most, which is one of the massive things that I value if you've been around this channel for any length of time. So I'm going to include one final book in this category. It's kind of like a crossover, so we're going to pop it in here, and it is called At Your Best by Carey Nieuwhof. So Carey Nieuwhof is like a leadership coach, so he helps develop leaders to be the best leaders that they can be. And I kind of have listened to some of his podcasts and listened to some of his stuff, and I really like the way he communicates, and I really enjoy what he has to say, and honestly I have devoured it. It's the last book I've read of 2021, and so it's fresh in my mind. It talks about the fact that efficiency can only get you so far, so you can only become so efficient, and it's basically about the fact that all of us have different amounts of energy at different amounts of times, and how we utilize that to do the best with our days and to make the best contribution that we can. To be honest, this year when it comes to fiction, I read a lot of good books, but not very many books that like were phenomenal. Like I've read the bestsellers, and I didn't massively enjoy a lot of fictional work this year. I just wonder if it was kind of the headspace I was in. I wanted to go somewhere that was like happy and had nothing to do with the pandemic. But a lot of books seem to kind of focus on really massive topical issues and all of this kind of stuff that kind of I wasn't really in the frame of mind for. I really enjoyed some of the books that I've read, but definitely my top favourites are As the Crawdads Sing, which I think was like a universal 2021 favourite book. It is beautifully written, the plot is gorgeous, it is creative, but it is direct, it gets you to the point, but it still makes it sound pretty. And honestly, the whole story, like I didn't pick up on it at all. The second fiction book that I really got into this year was the Little Woman collection, which kind of feels a little left field for me. I'm not a big like, what do you even call that genre? I think it was just that kind of like lightheartedness, the ease that it felt like the characters lived, and just how classic it was. It was just lovely to pick up a book, to read it, to be transported to another place and time, and to just really enjoy it, which I think is what all good fiction books do, is they place you in the story and they help you to, for a moment, forget what's going on around you and to just focus on the storyline of the characters. So the final books I want to chat about, and I've intentionally left them to the end, are books all around faith and Christianity and living a life with Jesus. And these are some of the books that I have read this year that I have really loved, that have really impacted me. The first one I want to chat to you about is a book called Anonymous by Alicia Britt. Her name is Alicia Britt. It is a gorgeous book. So it tracks through kind of Jesus's hidden years and what that means for us. And I think in a culture that chooses so often to want to be seen and to be known and to be shared online and to have their views heard, it was just really refreshing to read about Jesus's hidden years and how he chose hiddenness and how he loved it and how that's actually where he found purpose. The next two books I want to talk about, these are the final books, and I want to just kind of put them together. So they're two books by a guy called Scazzero. One is called Emotional Healthy Spirituality and the other one is called The Daily Office, I believe. So basically, Emotional Healthy Spirituality is this book here that is completely coffee stained because I enjoyed it too much. Basically, this book is all about how we connect our emotional health with our spiritual health and how we can't ignore our emotional health because that actually affects our spiritual health. And kind of in conjunction with that, he created the Daily Office. So it is like a daily Bible reading plan. And I have to be honest, this is the first one that I've ever used and ever found helpful. I kind of read the Bible or spend time with God. I journal, which I'll put a video link up here for, and then I read the Bible. So I usually pick a book and I'll kind of go through it chapter by chapter. I'm not really one for reading plans or using a devotional that someone else has written or any of that. That's just kind of not how I personally do it. And so it was the first time I kind of tried it and really enjoyed it. And the Daily Office is just this beautiful thing. It's broken into a morning and an evening. I honestly just did it once a day, so it kind of lasted me like 80 days because it's a 40-day thing. And it was really helpful. I found it really engaging, really easy. It's bite-sized. But guys, I so hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you did, please do give it a like and please do subscribe to my channel. And if you've enjoyed this kind of conversation around books, please do let me know. It's not something I've ever talked about on my channel, so if you do enjoy it, please do let me know. And I cannot wait to see you again. See you later. Bye!